drink out of the
All
bottle.
right. I think we're live.
Let's go. In studio. Live in studio.
I like that you brought the beers for this one too.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna be sober on a pod.
I thought about it. I actually regret not having a beer.
Yeah.
So if you have a spare one in your a spare one in your back pocket, you
I do, but I don't have
know.
the opener. I left it outside the studio, so
Oh.
that's probably gonna be a problem.
That is a problem unless you can do some wizardry.
But I could get you a splash of.
Do you have a
anything
cup?
beer. I have shot glass.
Yeah, fuck it.
Okay.
Give me some whiskey.
4 roses.
Yeah, 4 Roses works. Sounds good. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Whoops, I got the thing on there. Look at that. Stream's working. Yeah, excuse the lighting. I know it's a little off today, but we were trying to scramble to get a live version of this done because it's so much better. So yeah, hopefully it goes off without a hitch. Thank you. Thank you, sir. This is quite the shot glass here. Wow. Thanks. Oh, man. It tastes good. Oh, it's a small batch. Small batch, 4 Roses.
Is that a good one?
Where it's at. Yeah. What's up to everybody in the chat? I see we got Noah, Alan, Max, Matt, Adrian,
Adrian's in there.
D. Koch, Michael T. We got a lot in here. Give me a GM in the chat if you're hanging out with us. Yeah, it's good to be back. We took a little Thanksgiving break. I
Yeah,
feel
we did
refreshed.
do a
refreshed.
week off, huh? Markets were pumping.
GM Calcium. Good to see you, buddy. Oh, all right. So let me see if I got the hang of this camera switching here. So that's me. That's you. That's me. Look at that.
I'm going to be on a 20-second delay when I look at my phone, but
Yeah, don't worry about it.
yeah. Lighting's not terrible. Could be better. Could be worse.
Yeah, we'll get there. It's just episode 5, right? 5th episode. All right. Anyway, let's get into the thing. Bit of a choppy week in markets this week.
So far, yeah.
So far, not a whole lot to talk about from a price perspective. Crypto's been choppy, Bitcoin's choppy, ETH is choppy, stonks are choppy. So consolidating, I think. But consolidating before what?
Well, you kind of need
Before
that,
what?
right? You need that at times, right? You need the RSI to cool off. You need everything to kind of like digest before the next leg happens.
Indeed. We do not go up in a straight line. Usually, we do sometimes do that in crypto, actually, but usually we do not go up in straight lines. But yeah, I just want to take your temperature. How are you feeling about everything right now? How are you feeling about? I'm curious how you feel about the stock market in general. Are you bullish going into year end? Are you buying the Santa Claus rally, or are you going to be the Grinch?
I'm overall bullish, and I think the only reason for pause for me right now is that my portfolio has just been ripping in November, and that's kind of scary. Like, I think I never look at this thing. I never look
What
at
a
this
shitty problem.
I never look at this number because this number it's like easy come, easy go all the time. But in November, my overall portfolio was up like 30-something% in November, and I'm like, that seems scary. That's a
30-something%.
Yeah, it's a scary
like
number.
Interactive Brokers portfolio.
Yeah. But that contains
What are you holding in there?
like a ton of options on like all the shit that we've talked about going long on that has worked out over the last 30 days.
I love that for you. So my IB portfolio is the same. I think I have it's mostly Coinbase.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's Coinbase, Riot calls, and then there's like a few spot Bitcoin I picked up like through their Paxos thing, which is like
Oh yeah.
just like I got to put this money somewhere. I don't want to hold bonds. I'll just buy Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, coin has been just like every day I look at my P&L, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I'm rich.
It's ripping. It's a beautiful thing. I know you're a coin enjoyer.
Coin enjoyer, absolutely.
Yes. Many people in the chat are coin enjoyers. If you've been following us, especially on our other podcast, the Alfalfa Pod, you know that we have been very bullish on coin for quite some time, and it's been nice to enjoy that journey. I'm gonna throw a little Nasdaq chart up on the screen. See what we see here.
Man, I think you called this one pretty good, my friend.
Boom, there it is. Yeah, I was actually saying in the Discord last week, I was waiting for a reason to get long here. I was actually waiting for this. What level was it? It's on the 4-hour chart here, right? Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, 15,887. That was the level.
Look at that little origin of the move there.
And we tagged it. We tagged it today.
I'm learning so much already from your
Yeah,
lines.
I missed the long because I was playing pickleball this afternoon, but I'm pretty sure that zone there is going to take us higher. I think that we are looking for the 18s, honestly, on this. And, I was just looking for another reason to hop on the mood. I've just been kind of swing trading it. I don't really hold like any NASDAQ passively because all my money's in coin and whatnot. But
That's
I'm liking
so
it.
degen, by the way. The way you just manage your portfolio is so degen.
Yeah. I shouldn't be teaching any sort of class on this stuff or anything.
Lines are good though.
Yeah. Let me get a more zoomed out chart. Let's look at the S&P 500 as well. So there's the S&P 500. This is the monthly. Keep accidentally drawing on this darn chart here. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, all-time highs are a foregone conclusion. Pack your bags. We're going there.
You think we're going all-time highs sort of into year-end? I could see that happening. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty reasonable assumption. I think the traditional market folks will probably tell you, correct me if I'm wrong, but they say this time of year is when everybody does the tax loss selling, right? Because what do you got, like 30 days before you can buy it back?
And then I think they also talk about the January effect being this like positive catalyst where people buy back stonks, and it's I think that's a competing narrative to what our boy Chem says, or what he's suggesting.
Yeah, let's talk about Chem in a second. Let me just give the people this. This is the monthly chart. Sometimes I like to zoom out, take a step back. The monthly, it's simple. I think if I gave this chart to a 9-year-old and was like, "Where's the candle going?" They would say, "Up." It's going up.
I like this framework, by the way.
Yeah, there's your in-depth analysis. But you mentioned Chem.
Yeah.
We all love Chem in the Discord. For the people who aren't familiar with Chem Karsan,
Yeah.
yeah, who is Chem, and why should people listening care about him?
Well, I think now he runs his own little hedge fund, but formerly in his previous life he was a market maker, and he always talks about these flows that are based on dealer positioning and how it's going to affect the index price.
Options flows, right?
Yeah, options flows, and also how the dealers, the market makers, have to hedge their portfolios against those options flows, and sometimes that's like buying just the index. And I think right now he's saying that this is a period of kind of like up only based on what he's seeing, and then in mid-January, he's painting a different picture, like a scarier, bearish picture.
Is this the window of weakness?
The window of weakness.
Keep hearing about.
Yeah. So I actually, because I didn't understand what the hell he was talking about, like most of the time, and he uses mostly emojis.
Lots of emojis, yeah.
So I think that's just really annoying. But I did do some research on what he's describing, and I posted in the Discord. It was like a 13-minute YouTube video that describes it very succinctly, and now I get the majority of it. And let me try to TLDR what's going on. So like the market participants, meaning not the market makers, but like, hedge funds, retail, et cetera, everyone who's like buying and selling in the market, they're using options, particularly to do two things primarily. One is they're buying puts because they want protection against downside. So they're like overweight puts. That means the dealer is taking the opposite side of that. They're short the puts, and they sell calls. The retail sells calls, or like market participants sell calls to generate income. This is like how I make money, basically. So the dealer is on the opposite side of that too. So they're long calls and short puts. And what they want, it's not really like in an ideal world for them, they would be equal on both sides, because all they want to do is like provide transactions, right? And they make their money on the transactions. They don't actually want to take a side. But when retail is kind of like always doing these two trades, they have a portfolio that they need to hedge. And they're going to constantly be hedging this thing based on delta. And the delta is constantly moving based on the factors that affect options, right? So that's like time, that's volatility in the market, that's the price of the underlying asset. So as the underlying asset is moving, as time is passing by and sort of decaying, like their delta is constantly shifting, and they have to hedge that delta, and they'll do that either by buying options, selling options, or buying the underlying or selling the underlying. And I guess that's Chem in a nutshell. And he's saying right now, in December, that all looks positive for the index price.
Okay, so let me see if I understand this. Dealer is short puts. So in order to hedge that position so they don't go and blow up, they short stocks. And then when those positions expire, as they roll off, they buy back the hedge, and all of that buying.
Well, that's not necessary, because it's so dependent on how the index price has moved. Because if they're short puts, but the index price has gone higher, then they're actually not in any risk at all. So they don't have to do any hedging on that. So it's completely context dependent, and that's the part that I think I don't follow yet, but I want to dig deeper on that, understand, like what they're doing when certain things happen. And this is still an area of learning for me.
Yeah. I mean, options are funny because you have like this convexity element to them that doesn't exist in, normal assets. It's just like, so the S&P is trading at one point, dealers don't have to do anything, right? It's fine. But then as price moves, it gets progressively like crazier and crazier and crazier as price moves. And I think a lot of people will be able to analogize this to the GME gamma squeeze. Is we saw what happens when price just keeps going and dealers have to keep hedging,
keep buying the
just
underlying.
Pretty wild stuff. The TLDR for people is like, we both think we're going much higher in the equities markets over the coming months. I think like even with like a January thing, like I'm still pretty bullish. Like I feel like I think I've said this before. Like there's almost this like weird like mass psychosis going on where everybody just, it seems like, feels so bearish. But in reality, like Facebook, a decimated 70%, like stocks, like a bunch of corporations had like 3 straight quarters, right, of just of crap earnings, and we're through all of that. We're through all of that. The rate hikes are over. It looks really good. It still looks really good, but for some reason, people, I don't know if it's PTSD or what, but nobody's really talking to me except in like our close little circle about like buying things.
I feel like,
but it's like a golden age to buy things. I feel like
I agree, and I think when we talk about Chem and stuff, we're getting lost in the weeds a little bit in sort of short term. But I agree with you that in the long term, this seems fine. Like it's kind of like we digested the rate hikes. Inflation is coming down. Like, why wouldn't stocks go higher? I don't see this fear of recession as much as I previously feared. So I agree with you, and I think that's like the broader picture.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. Crypto is another story. Crypto's been choppy like stocks.
Yeah,
we had some.
ETH's the only drag in my portfolio.
Oh God, I've got something for you on that actually in a second. We had some big news today. Michael Saylor announced he bought another $600 million worth of Bitcoin, which made me go, oh, we're just chopping sideways and Saylor's just been market buying, and it didn't make me feel too good.
Right. I mean, he owns like how many billions of Bitcoin now? 5.5 billion.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. I think his average price now is like 36,000.
No, he's 30,000, 31.
30, 31?
Yeah.
I guess that makes more sense.
Yeah, he's up.
Okay. Yeah, he's up. He's doing his best to try to be down again, I think. but he's up for now. I saw too, they're like diluting the stock kind of to buy more Bitcoin, right?
That's always their play. Like he's going to do two things. He's going to raise debt off of his equity in MicroStrategy, and he's going to sell the common equity to buy more Bitcoin. So that's why my long-term thesis on MicroStrategy is to short it, because Saylor's literally doing that. He's selling MicroStrategy to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a bunch of Bitcoiners tweeting about why this isn't dilution. I don't know if I grasp the concept. I don't know if I care all that much. I think at the end of the day,
I guess it's not dilution if he's creating more value. Like because he's buying Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes higher, then the value of MicroStrategy fundamentally is going up. But like as a MSTR shareholder, it's literally just being dumped.
Yeah, and you've also expressed concern that once ETF is out, there's not really a lot of reason to hold MicroStrategy versus
you don't need
ETF.
the proxy for Bitcoin anymore. Just own Bitcoin.
Yeah. I mean, I don't own any. I'm playing it via the miners and spot, as you know. So,
but I used to sell out of the money calls against MicroStrategy, and there's just no way I won't want to play that game.
That is not a game. That's not a game you want to be playing right now. It's not a game to be played in a bull market.
Yeah.
Not the early stages of a bull market, anyway.
Right.
Definitely not. Back to ETH, by the way. Let's have a little group therapy session on ETH, which is pumping at the moment, like fake pumping. We're like, oh god, ETH's pumping. It's up 0.9%.
Where do we stand? What's the level right now?
Oh my goodness, we are at 2072.
Okay, that's
just forever, just not breaking through this damn resistance here. My god, I don't know what's gonna happen once this level finally goes. Hopefully, mega fireworks. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is we're just accumulating. We're accumulating below like a pretty significant level. Just going to very imprecisely draw this line there. There you go. There's your line.
So I know that line is sort of in your mind where we're going to break through, right? That's where it's going. But then once it breaks through that line, all bets are off. It could just dump from there or send, right?
I think once we go through the line, we just rip. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Like if you look at the chart, like the accumulation period underneath it, it's like the inverse of the bull price action, kind of.
Yeah, it really
pretty funny. But like ETH has been. So here's a funny chart, funny or sad depending on how much ETH you have in your portfolio. That this is various assets this year. We got Bitcoin, we got Coin, we got Solana, Nvidia, ETH, and Meta, aka Facebook. The winner right now is this I gotta get the whole year here. Let's do 2023. There we go.
Oh, that changes everything. Yeah.
Yeah, 2023 makes a bit of a difference. Solana, 515%. Unquestionably the best asset here. Coming in second, we've got is this Coin? Yeah, this is Coin.
Let's go.
Number
Coin.
2 here, 256%, 258%. Nvidia, 220%. Then we've got Facebook at 172%, and then we've got Bitcoin at 126%, and then down here we have Ethereum at a lowly 71%.
Damn, 71% is beyond what I would have even imagined. Like just feels like we've been fucking range bound forever.
I know it feels awful. So I guess the question I have is like, one question you have as an investor that's or as a trader especially is this. It's like, do I buy the laggard thinking there's going to be a catch-up trade?
Yeah, like a mean
Or do I
reversion.
just jump on? Do I just buy Sol because it's going up and it's probably going to keep going
Right.
up?
And if like the Mag 7 in Stockland is any indication, it has not been profitable to buy the laggards. It's been buy the winners because the winners keep on winning.
Yeah, and I have a very similar philosophy. Like when I trade crypto, like I learned this a long time ago. Like there's something in your brain where you want to play mean reversion.
Yeah.
And like your brain thinks something's at a discount and you don't want to buy the thing going up because it's already up, and up is high. And your brain's like, ooh, high is bad, you can fall. But it doesn't really make any sense. And that's what gives me great pain here, because if I'm following my rules, normally I'm just like, yeah, just selling all my ETH and just buying Solana, just dump it.
But I don't feel like you're doing that. Are you?
No, I'm not. Like I still think that selling ETH before ETF is stupid. It's suicide, and I think we're getting early indications that this cycle is going to be the institutional cycle. For example, I think one thing that's like interesting in crypto right now is like the real world asset, the RWA narrative. RWA coins are doing great, like stuff like Maker, stuff like Kanto, and stuff like Maple Finance, which is not something people talking about
a bit of a deep cut.
Lot.
Holy.
Yeah, I mean, this is like kind of a stupid chart. Let me get a real chart up here. Maple's Jesus. So Maple's just up only. Maple's just like an interesting little protocol. I think it's just a place for like institutions to borrow on chain, basically. But look at these gains, man. I mean, this is nuts. We are up.
So is Maple just
400% basically off the lows?
Is that just doing on-chain U.S. Treasuries basically, or?
No, it used to have like Alameda used to be on there, I think, and they'd be like, oh, I want to borrow $100 million, and you just lend them stable coins and
against
then they would
some collateral like Bitcoin or something, kind of like an Aave.
I don't know what they do for collateral with them, to be honest. I'm not sure. It wouldn't surprise me if there weren't really any, at least not in the traditional DeFi sense, because I think the idea is it's supposed to function more like real world lending is, where like, you don't just go and just plop down like a $1 billion in collateral and then go
take out 800 million.
Yeah. So I think that's the deal with it. But this is something I think I'm like might be pretty underexposed to in my portfolio now. But man, it feels painful to chase at this point. And Maker, I think, is something else we've talked about as well. And Maker's been doing similarly well, just chugging along. Nice little uptrend there.
Yeah,
there it is.
That's nice to see. I mean, I kind of use, for me and the way I view real world assets, I like to think of Link, and I think a lot of these charts resemble probably what the Link chart looks like too. Or do you think of Link as something different? That's like it's more of like a dinosaur DeFi.
I definitely don't think of Link as like dinosaur DeFi. I mean, maybe it's dinosaur in that it's old, but it's also not really DeFi to me. It's
right.
it's
just like one of those old blue chips that seems to make sense this way that Uniswap does, but they do completely different things.
Yeah. I mean, Link. We've talked about Link. It's like an interesting It's an interesting little asset because it sort of gives you 1 foot in crypto, 1 foot in TradFi. It's like a play on this kind of hybrid outcome, which I think is going to be the case. Like I own Link. I think people should own Link. I think it's a good portfolio. That's a good thing to have in your portfolio. Just ran into some monthly supply here on the chart. Not surprising that we're kind of
So
chopping sideways.
What is that? The weekly you were just looking at?
Yeah, it's a weekly chart, but it's really like a monthly zone, and Link back to going sideways, I guess.
It knows how to do this.
Got scribbles everywhere here. So yeah, I don't know. Already getting PTSD. Well, maybe it just does this for like
another
7 months,
another 2 years.
That would be so funny if it just flatlines. Oh man. Okay, what else do we have on the agenda? Oh yeah, forgot to talk about it. What did you do this week?
Oh,
Make any moves?
yeah. I have like continued on the Novo trade, that we talked about on Alfalfa last week, which was like these GLP-1 drugs, and then I've kind of like started to move out on the speculative risk curve as it pertains to these type of drugs. So what we talked about was like, what are the ancillary players that might benefit that are like lower market cap if this narrative plays out? And we talked about Weight Watchers, WW International, and I actually dipped a toe into Weight Watchers.
Just a reminder for those of you who haven't been following along. This is what the Novo chart looks like.
Yeah, so I think most people that listen to us know what Novo does, but this is like a pretty game-changing pharmaceutical that can maybe solve obesity, which then has sort of like downstream effects of solving many other comorbidities. And, I think that this is going to be so popular. This like GLP-1 narrative is going to be so popular that like even though this has been pumping, like I don't think that the market can really conceptualize how big this could be. Like I'm talking 1,000x on the prescription side. So fundamentals, not price. I don't think the price of Novo is going to 1,000x because it's already, a lot of it's been priced in. But I think the prescriptions will 1,000x from here.
Do you have any idea what happens to price in a 1,000x on prescriptions?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's offsetting components. So like what would take it to 1,000x is that the insurance companies will start subsidizing the drug. So right now they're selling this thing off prescription. It's just like people pay cash and they're paying $1,000 to $1,300 a month cash for this drug, and they can't even make enough of it. The demand is so strong. But I think when the insurance companies get involved, the price of the drug comes down. So that's less revenue for Novo, but then you have way more prescriptions written. So you got like more volume, decreased margin. So those are offsetting. They'll end up making more money, but it's hard to identify.
I like it. So let's pull up Weight Watchers because you said you're
Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers is a fun play. So I think people understand Weight Watchers from what the business previously was, and that was like this point system. People would like improve their diets based on these points, and like if you ate more carbs, that'd be more points. So you want to get like lower points to try to like help lose weight, and then they rebranded their business to be WW because there's like this stigma around weight management. So they just wanted to like.
Oh, it's literally called WW now?
It's called WW International.
Jesus.
Because people were not happy with the fact that they're like really aligning to people's weight, and we don't like now that like the body image folks are like, well, we don't care about weight, and you see this in like advertisements where we have bigger models and stuff. So they tried to disassociate.
It's so weird to me though. It's not like the company's called like, holy shit, I'm so fat. It's just like, wait, what? We're just watching your weight. We're just watching it. It's not even like,
yeah.
I don't know.
So they brought in a new CEO, and the new CEO actually kind of like is admonishing this change, right? Like she's she's pretty rad actually. So she came from. Did you ever use the app called Clubhouse?
Yeah.
Okay, so she founded Clubhouse before. So she's like digital native, and she's like younger. She's like a user of the product herself. Like she said she had a pregnancy where she gained like 60 pounds and actually went on Weight Watchers and like lost that weight. So she's actually a fan of the product, and she has this like digital first component to her, which I like. And she's trying to rebrand it. She's saying that the WW rebrand was a misstep because that was a marketing only rebrand. She wants to like rebrand it to let's involve pharmaceuticals into the WW thesis. So it's not just the diet; it's the diet and the this like genetic component that the pharmaceuticals can assist with, and so they are now prescribing individuals through like telehealth. So they'll like you can sign up on WW, talk to a doctor on your phone, and get a prescription for these GLP-1 drugs.
Cool. So this is like this is sort of a backdoor way to play this narrative.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty cool because it's just a much smaller market cap. At like 500 million.
I mean, the chart looks interesting. I'll throw the chart up.
So
there
let's
it is.
look at the chart here.
Looks like some altcoins that we
so hold on,
may have gotten stuck with.
Let's use your 9-year-old framework because from who I consider myself to be kind of like a 9-year-old when I'm looking at charts, like this just looks like chaos to me. It doesn't look like this is gonna moon necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super pretty. I'm not gonna lie, but it's got some things going for it, I think. So if we look at the chart without getting too in the weeds here, what I like is earlier this year we ran the low, not just like the low, but like the all-time low, and then we had a little period of consolidation, which I like to see. So this is like a similar pattern that I trade a lot. I look for like a potential area of accumulation. I look for a leg away from that maybe takes out some critical level, and then like another secondary period, and then like a sharp move back in the other direction. And that's kind of what I see here. Like I see a little accumulation above the low, and then I see the big move down. So we ripped from $7 all the way down to $4 for those of you who aren't looking at this. That was end of last year, and then another period of accumulation, and then boom, a sharp move back up and ran all of the highs of that consolidation. So as far as I'm concerned, like there's the pretty high probability that this thing is primed to go. And the other thing that's interesting here is you can kind of see the support level for the area of that consolidation that broke the low. That's where we bottomed in the spring, and it's where we basically bottomed here in November or bottomed thus far. And I think that this zone on the chart here, which is basically, see this last kind of down candle.
Yeah, what price is that?
So this is basically like $6 to $7 or so.
Okay.
It's like a pretty interesting level for this. We tagged that. So that's like an area I would want to watch, and then I'd be looking on the lower time frame to see if there's like some sort of market structure shift. And we've early indications that's happening right now. You can see prices is starting to move to the upside. And if you just zoom out and you just look at the overall range, I mean, like, yeah, the chart is sort of chaos, but it's also just sort of just one gigantic range. Like it's just a ginormous trip, from $6 to or $3 to $106, back down to $3.
$106.
Right. So if we go back to all-time highs from here, you're looking at a smooth 1,300%
That's
gain,
insane.
which is not so bad. So I think it's an interesting play. I think it's also a potentially interesting play to play with options, because something like this can move like a lot. And, if you're sort of just limiting your downside, right? If you're like, I'm going to throw $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 or whatever your bag is in this, and you can't lose any more than that. But like you're putting yourself in a potentially like a good spot. So yeah, I like the risk reward on it. Given what the chart looks like, given the the context of everything you said about these medications and what's already happening with companies like Novo and
so let me give you a little more
Lilly.
context too, because I think it's important to note what's going on in the short term with WW. So they still have their core business. Their core business is like getting subscribers for their points system, the diet-based one, and that is sort of dying, right? And I think the CEO, the new CEO, is like kind of in the zone of like pivoting away from that, but that's still the majority of their business today. And in addition, when they're trying to do these prescriptions, there's a massive supply constraint just on the drug itself. So they're not able to actually like write as many prescriptions as I think they would want to, just because they can't get a hold of the drug, period. So I think this might be a little supply constrained in the very near term, maybe like the next quarter or so. And maybe you see a move back down into that range you identified, the $6 to $7 range. And that, like, that's why I haven't like really gone degen into this, because I think the near term kind of fundamentally sucks. But this narrative might be so strong that it just nobody cares.
Yeah, I think for the reasons we pointed out on the chart, like 6 to 7 is it's like a pretty interesting level. And like I don't like to buy these breakouts. Like I like to wait until they retrace into kind of the area that made the last run up. And that's where it is right now. So kind of at the point of maximum risk reward at the moment. I like it.
Cool.
All right. So what did I do this week? Well, I haven't been making too many moves lately, but I did start buying PayPal.
Oh my God.
Which is just the worst chart I've ever seen.
Yeah, is this thing still live?
Yeah, alive and sort of kicking. I think it's bottomed here at what, $50? We're at $57 now. Interesting looking structure on the 4-hour chart. This is definitely a structure you see in bottoms very frequently. Similar thing, I think, here where you have your consolidation and then a sharp move down and up, run above these highs, break structure, and now we're kind of buying in this retrace. And then, yeah, you're close to the point of maximum risk reward here, and the reward I think is very, very good. Again, this thing is trading at $57, all time high, just way up there with $309. The other thing I think that's interesting from a non-technical perspective, more fundamental perspective, as I'm sure you're aware, Shopify has been pumping.
Holy cow. This thing, it looked like it was dying and then has really risen from the ashes.
But look at that. Look how similar these charts are, actually. Here, let me put PayPal on this.
Man, you're so well versed in TradingView.
Yeah, am I? I'm just yeah. As I put it on the wrong, thing. Let me see if I can add it on its own scale here. There we go. Boom.
Wow, dude.
So pretty interesting. I mean, they are basically the same chart, except Shopify's had quite a recovery since the beginning of the year. From $24 to $72. That's a smooth gain, and that's not even from the beginning of the year. That's from like last fall, but still like a pretty spicy gain this year, over 100% easily. So I think the e-com has been interesting lately. We had record numbers Black Friday, as I'm sure you're aware.
Oh yeah.
Record numbers, not due to inflation either, because prices actually were lower this year than they were last year, and we've seen a boom.
I bought a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of crap too, a bunch of crap on Shopify stores. And I also bought some stuff and used some buy now, pay later stuff.
Oh,
just because
nice.
if it's like, zero interest, I'm like, whatever. I
Yeah.
want to use my capital and I don't mind doing that. So you've seen like a resurgence in, what was like Afterpay, the company, or Klarna, those the two.
Yeah.
I think they've been doing pretty well, and Shop has been doing super well. I think PayPal fits into this same kind of like generalized area, and like it could be ripe for like a catch-up trade. So when I see that like alignment of like, oh, I have like this kind of thesis, but that's not enough for me to make a trade. But I also kind of like what I'm seeing in a chart as well. I think it provides an interesting opportunity, and this is something I've been watching for months now, and
they
finally
have
decided to jump in.
They have like a crypto out as well, right? Didn't they incorporate USD stablecoins in some fashion?
They launched PayPal, like
PYUSD.
PYUSD, Pyongyang USD. PPUSD was a big missed opportunity there. We would have gotten so much free meme value, but they didn't. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's a big TBD for me. It doesn't seem like it's going well so far, but you can kind of envision a far off future where this is a thing. But yeah, that's the only new move I made this week. Other than I'm going to be looking. I wanted to buy index futures today or options, on Nasdaq, but kind of missed that trade. But that is another thing I want to get into at this level.
Can I ask you how you're playing the PayPal? Are you going options? Are you just buying the common stock?
I bought January 2025, $60, I believe. Like decent. Like there's a pretty solid amount of open interest on that.
And what's
strike.
what's the price of the common right now?
The price of the common is what, $55?
Okay, so you're kind of going near the money.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to just $57. I'm trying to just I'm trying to just play Delta.
Yeah, that's like a capital efficient way to own the common stock, essentially.
Yeah, that's my thought exactly. So I think like the $10 or $11 strike price, so you can think of it as getting like 5-to-1 leverage.
Yeah.
Basically, I need to be capital efficient in my portfolio because I'm just doing a lot of stuff with like a one capital base, and I don't like own stock, but I like to make these kind of leveraged like swings from time to time. So that's kind of how I think about doing it. Like if you are doing stuff way out of the money or stuff that's like very near dated, then you've got a whole bunch of other considerations on the trade.
Totally.
You got to think about vol quite a bit, and I don't know. I'm just mostly in it for the leverage.
Cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
You like it? All right. Good.
Yeah.
As
I think I'm
long
gonna play with that. I like that.
It's always more fun to degen together.
I agree.
It's fun to win together, and then also you have the camaraderie when you lose together. Unless you're one of those dicks who's like, "What the hell, man? You told me to buy this, and it's going down."
Yeah, honestly,
Don't be that guy.
we
Don't be
haven't
that guy.
we haven't had much of that. I just want to give a shout out to our community because we haven't had much of that sort of ever, and we've been like saying what we're doing. I don't think we're like recommending anybody else do anything, but for 2 years we've been creating content, and we haven't really heard any of that. So that's cool.
Yeah, people have been very not dickish.
But we haven't missed that often either. I mean, we've been pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I would say overall, like the calls have been very good. Like, of course, there's been some stinkers in there. I need to go through the chat log sometime and be like, oh yeah, that was a bad play. I've definitely had a few of them, but overall the trend has been mostly up. All right, so we're coming in on an hour here. Let's close this up by answering some questions in the chat. I see a couple things in here, a couple of requests, so I'm gonna put those up. But if you guys have anything else you wanna, try to get on the air, then feel free to drop that in there, and we'll see what we can do. Looks like, what do we got here? Ali, what do you guys think about Filecoin? Filecoin is one of those. I have like a whole litany of coins and such that I've posted a decent write up from, and our Discord's like Magic Lines channel, talking about why it looks really, really good, and I'm super, super bullish, but then I didn't buy any.
Oh.
And the exact thing played out that that kind of called and was watching too. And
who's the, like, do you know who the like the backer is of Filecoin? It's like this group that somebody just posted. I think Max just posted recently one of their slide decks from their like annual conference or something, and I can't even remember what this thing's called, but they launched IPFS or whatever, and Filecoin.
Mm-hmm.
These are fucking gigabrains, man. And I was looking at this slide deck, and I was just thinking, like, I want exposure to this team, and Filecoin looks like a way to get that.
Yeah, I know that. There's the chart, by the way, for those of you who have not seen what Filecoin looks like. It's a bit of a hellish chart to trade, but it gives you some really good moves. But yeah, we were talking about this damn thing in the Discord, like right here. I was like, ooh, that move looks interesting. It might be good to get on a retest here. Whoop! And gone.
So you would have been out on that little move down.
Oh, absolutely. I would hold none of it right now. It would be totally gone. In all seriousness, though, I think this is like an interesting portfolio play, like an actual long-term spot play. I know Arthur Hayes has been shilling this thing pretty hard. I definitely can see the need for decentralized file storage in the future. I think the censorship is going to move into the realm of data at some point. I think people are... we were talking about this in like January. Like we were talking about the potential for AI coins like Render to be like an interesting thesis this cycle, because we've been bullish on the idea that like crypto could help with AI. And even if it doesn't actually do anything, just simply the idea that it might.
Right, the narrative alone.
That narrative catches steam. Like you can have some sick moves and stuff like Render is probably, I think, like 350 now. It's I think like a 10x on the year. I mean, that's been a hell of a play. There's a Render chart. Oh god.
Wow, I did none of this.
Yeah, so yeah, we were talking about it on the show here. 40 cents.
Good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I didn't buy it until like $1.15, but still good. So yeah, I think it's an interesting narrative. I think it's an interesting play to make in your portfolio for this cycle. So yeah, I like the Filecoin. Filecoin is extremely down from its all-time high, which is sometimes not a good thing, because you have a bunch of down bad bag holders just selling every chance they can get on every pump, and it's kind of hard to overcome that. It's a pain in the ass. The good thing about Filecoin is I think it's like a Korean coin. I think Korea likes it.
Korea likes it?
Yeah. So
for that reason?
Aptos and Filecoin. So, you don't fade the Koreans, man. Once all of Asia just starts buying stuff, like you don't want to be on the other side of that. You gotta embrace it.
I like that. Any other questions in the chat?
Who else dropped something in here? Filecoin. I'm just seeing Filecoin. People just...
Okay, I got one for you
requests.
while people come in. You recommended Blur in your friend tech. and I want to see how you feel about Blur now after it's had a nice little run since you recommended it.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked at it in a while, like a few days, which is a while for me, I guess. How do you look, Blur? Oh, this looks nice. Yeah, I should buy more on this pullback. This is like the type of thing I just buy a little more, buy a little more. You never know. You never know if these things are going to give you like a clean retrace down in here and then kind of go back up, or if they just kind of touch the gap and then go. So
This is something that you taught. I think it was either on Magic Lines or on Irresponsibly Long, like how the candles look in a bull market are different than how they act in a bear market, where it's like you don't expect always for the candle to come all the way down to the origin of the move in a bull, right? Like you sometimes have to act a little sooner, like in this gap.
yeah, so if you kind of zoom in here, what you're talking about is that when you have like slower, cleaner price action, like the type of stuff you often see, in like the NASDAQ, then, this zone on a high enough time frame is sort of just like, it's like an order block, and the higher the time frame goes, so on the weekly, you just have like one order block here, right? Mm-hmm. And then as you move time frames down, like to the daily, you can see it's like this string of down candles. But these down candles, before you get a big move up that kind of takes a high or breaks some sort of structure, that typically acts as support when you come back down. So in slower moving markets, you can kind of accumulate it as it retraces and then catch the wave back up. But in some of these markets that just go like full retard, for lack of a better term, sorry. Oftentimes you don't get like a full test of the order block. Like when price moves very rapidly, it leaves these gaps. So you can see on the daily here, there is a gap on the Blur price. And for those of you who can't see what I'm doing, please go watch the YouTube because the visuals are very handy.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in here, guys.
Some good stuff in here. So oftentimes you just have to buy the gap, right? So if we zoom into the 4 hour, you'll see the low. Yeah, so there we go. And even on the 1 hour, this will look a little juicier probably. Yeah, so you see on the 1 hour, we have this low here around, what is that, like 45 cents or so? So sometimes you get price action where we consolidate and you kind of yoink and run that low and you're back up and then you're gone. And you just kind of have to buy the run of that low and buy the gap, and you just don't get the clean test of the entire zone. The nature of trading shitcoins. But this happens in the index too. This happens in the S&P. Like if you are kind of trading, you get that like kind of 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. kill zone move where price just go. Sometimes price is like, I'm going to this level and it just goes. So when that happens, you do not get like these like clean pull. It just goes.
So what's Blur at right now? Because I just bought it. I bought like 49.9 or something like that.
49. That's about what it's at right now. It's about 49.6.
Okay, so with this, my thought is, I like that the team is shipping, and I like that they're getting involved in new stuff and having the Blur token still sort of be applicable to the new stuff. I also like that the market cap is 500 million and their treasury is 500 million. That's compelling to me. So I'm not much of a shit coiner, but this to me is kind of like moving out of shitcoin territory.
Yeah, I like it. It's an interesting play. It's a product. It's a good product. It's a well-built product. Will value accrue to the token? I don't know.
But OpenSea was valued at 13 billion in the peak of the bull, and this probably outcompetes OpenSea.
Yeah, I'm betting on another maybe bigger NFT run.
Yeah,
at some point in the future.
And this is if you're gonna bet on that, this is probably a way to get exposure.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Alan wants to know, how do we feel about OP versus ARB?
Good question. I like this.
Yeah. So I think last I checked, I remember thinking that OP looked kind of bad and ARB looked kind of good. So let's see.
Do you conceptualize these two things as the same trade pretty much, and then go for like mean reversion between the two typically?
No, I just own both in like a long-term portfolio, and I don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
If I'm trading them, I'm just trading what the chart looks like, and I don't really care what the other one is doing. So here's OP. This is kind of an ugly chart, to be honest. Price has taken a very important level here at 182, and then also another high here. Yeah, so we've swept like two pretty critical highs. And oftentimes after you get these sweeps, you know, you get distribution above these key levels, and then price kind of retraces. And people who buy the breakouts, they get trapped and they're in pain. So daily, a little whack, but I think if you zoom in on the 4 hour looks a little distribution-y to me.
We don't love those.
No, so not loving OP, but on the other hand, I think ARB looks like quite good, especially if we zoom out more. Yeah. So ARB still has this level here, which it is going to run, in my opinion, up at 135, and we're at $1. And this looks good to me, right?
Good to you for a trade, just to run that high.
I don't know. Like I would buy long-term spot here too, and if we go lower, I'd buy more. But like there's a this is the stupidest shit to say ever in crypto, but there's like a good chance like it doesn't go back below 90 cents. Like there's a chance that happens. Like don't bet the farm on that, but like it's a decent chance that 5 years from now this is like a really, really, really good level. So yeah, prices we've definitely shifted market structure. You've got a pretty clean double bottom here, market structure shift, and now you've got the retracement leg into the zone that created the shift. Got a retest off of it. So if we get one more dip down here to like 95 cents or so, that could be like a really interesting level, and then we're going for this here. So this chart looks a lot better to me because price is moving very strongly. You know, you can see off the bottom, we got all of these like very strong white candles and then the bigger candles. So price is strong. It's going for something. What is it going for? It's going for this target up here. Has it met it yet? No. Whereas in the case of optimism, it is like kind of clearly delivered.
It's already hit that
to
high.
its price target, right? And now it's, at best going to consolidate and then go for it again, but at worst, kind of dip down quite a bit.
Can I ask you a little bit about
up.
Arbitrum, because you're you're a user of these protocols and these chains, right? So I'm more of an L1 guy. Like when I do DeFi, I'm layer 1 primarily, and then if I do layer 2 stuff, I would probably use Optimism. Is Arbitrum mostly just like a way to use GMX, or is there like more stuff going on Arbitrum?
Okay, so first of all of crypto is just a way to gamble. Whether that's like you're gambling on meme coins or you're using like perp dexes to trade, like that's kind of the main use case at the moment. It is what it is. I think the Arbitrum ecosystem to me is a little more vibrant than the Optimism ecosystem. I think what Optimism has going for it is the whole superchain thesis, which I think is an interesting thesis. But what's kind of stupid about Optimism, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like I believe like Optimism doesn't have fraud proofs live yet, whereas I believe Arbitrum does. So it's kind of weird to call yourself like a layer 2 in that instance. But like I don't know, all this stuff is so early. It's like does it really matter? I don't know. I think in the end, OP just kind of behaves like high beta ETH, and you know, if you look at the chart, like it does some pretty crazy moves. I mean, this is 2020, 2023. This is this year. I mean, this thing went nuclear, like absolutely crushed. We ripped from
It went to like $3.
87 cents to $3. That's a sick move. And that was like 3 months.
So my move on optimism, I sold the $3 level. I can't remember exactly what level, but I remember just dumping everything around that $3 level. And I just had to get back in because I want some exposure long term. And it was like a week ago or so, it was in $1.50, and I'm like, I gotta buy back in. You know, like I think that I basically did the same thing with ETH, where like I got out at 3K, 3,200, and it's like at some point you gotta buy back in.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it other than if you believe in this, you have to eventually be long.
Something in the chat's asking is why is ETH pumping? Okay, guys, like sometimes price just moves. Like just price just moves. There's more buyers than sellers. Somebody's doing something. I don't know. Like these are tiny things. You can't fret over them. I've said this a million times at this point, but ETH wants this level. It really wants. Was that 2141? There it is. There's your line. That's where we want to go. So we're very close to that line. Probably going to take that line. I think it's an interesting question of what happens after we take that line. Do we just explode and go like way higher, or do we, you know, pull one of these sort of tragic, fake, you know, and then we just have a bad time?
Okay, so let's talk about what would cause that drawing. Probably Bitcoin ETF approved, ETH ETF delay, maybe even denied. Like that could happen.
I mean, ETH ETF denied would be obviously very bad.
But we're assigning like a 90% plus probability on the Bitcoin ETF being approved. I agree with that. I don't assign as high a probability to ETH ETF. Might still be high.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to approve Bitcoin and then reject ETH on the same day. And I think the ETH approval dates are months out relative to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So at the very least, you're still going to get like a mega pump on ETH, I think, on BTC ETF approval.
I agree with that.
You know, and then TBD what happens after there. But
I mean, are you using ETH just as like mostly like a long holding, like spot, perp, whatever you're using, but like are you using ETH to like go long and then like not really trade, or are you constantly trading even your long bag, like everything? Are you constantly trading everything?
No, like I denominate in ETH. Like my crypto portfolio is basically ETH denominated, and I use that collateral to do things. And I may go, you know, between like ETH and stable coins or something back and forth, but I'm not really selling ETH to buy tokens because it's very tax inefficient. And I'm at the point in the cycle now where I've accumulated a bunch of ETH and like at pretty good prices, right? Like my average price is probably like, you know, $1,300, $1,400 or so, which is a pretty good price, I think. And I think that will age. They'll age very well. So I don't want to sell that, especially before I have cap gains and then buy some shitcoin. Like I would rather borrow against my ETH and then use like the stable coins to buy those coins. And then like if I end up getting like too overexposed, like my portfolio is too leveraged, I can always go in like hedge out. Like I can always short some percentage of my portfolio. It's just so that I'm not too over levered.
So we talked yesterday about Charlie Munger, and one of his quotes that I don't think we mentioned is he says, "The money is made not in the buying and the selling, it's in the waiting." And I think that kind of applies to how I view ETH.
Yeah, I mean, this is my fourth cycle now? I don't know. Wait, 20. Yeah, this will be my fourth cycle. Good God. I am way less rich than I should be. But one of the painful lessons I've learned is that you really just have to formulate your thesis for the most part, and then you just have to stick to it. And I think it's okay if something like Solana is ripping and you're like, oh my God, my thesis on Solana was wrong. I need to allocate. Sometimes just buying a little bit of that bag, it just alleviates you so much psychological pain.
Yeah, it changes your whole demeanor.
Yeah. Like when Solana and Link started ripping, like I just bought a small Link bag, and I just bought back. I never owned Link. I used to own a bunch of Solana, but I bought back a small Solana bag, and it just alleviates so much pain. And then you feel like, okay, like if it keeps ripping, even though you're not making that much, like you are making something. Like you're not just completely on the outside looking in, which can just be like cripplingly horrible. And like a lot of people are just like what level do I buy at? I don't know. Like if you just feel that like crippling anxiety, just buy something.
Yeah.
Even if it's just small, even if the coin might be a complete scam, just buy a little bit. Buy like $10. I don't know, but just buying something does so much for you, right? And then it allows you to hang on to your original thesis, right? Like there's a much higher chance that you just take your entire ETH bag and you just flip the table over and go, fuck it, I'm out. And you just flip the whole bag into Solana at like precisely the top. Like if you don't let yourself like have like a little bit of that feeling of like being in a coin that's going up.
I completely agree. It's like it changes your demeanor to where you're like way more pragmatic and rational once you own something versus when you're sidelined.
Yes.
And it doesn't even really matter how much. It's just the fact that you are in.
Yeah, well said. It's like shocking how little you actually have to buy to alleviate psychological pain. And sometimes the psychological pain is so much worse than the money. It's like so much worse than the money. It's like crazy. Like there will be times where I am short like 5% of my entire stack, and like crypto's getting nuked, and I'm actually happy.
You're just like, oh, good.
I'm like winning. Just looking at the P&L, I'm like, God, that's a nice P&L. And like your brain is just like attaches to that. And like I know it's stupid. Yeah. I know I'm actually getting poorer, but I feel better.
Because that trade worked.
I feel better.
Yeah.
And like there's something to be said for going through your day not feeling like a crazy person all the time because you're just constantly missing out on everything, right? And I think too, if you indulge yourself into buying enough stuff, like sure, buy the meme coin, just don't buy a lot of it. Buy that, buy it all. Like, and then after you do that for a bunch, and you realize that like, oh, I'm just losing on 95% of these, and the Twitter narrative is like kind of fake or manufactured, or by the time I heard about it, it's played out, and I'm just constantly late to everything. Sometimes it's better to just sit on your hands, like sit with like the good stuff that you believe in, like long term, and then everything will be fine for the most part. But of course, there is a point where you have to take a step back and say, this is probably wrong, but nothing has invalidated the ETH thesis. Like nothing.
No.
Like if anything, I just look at something, I just look at it, I'm like, wow, this just continues to be a more and more and more obvious buy. Like there's nothing happening right now, and like we're just burning ETH. Like there's no tomorrow. When this comes back, when institutions, start coming in, when ETFs are trading, like this is going to be an attractive asset. Like Bitcoin and ETH are going to be the institutional assets, and other stuff isn't. Like that money's not going to touch it, and that's not something we've had to deal with in crypto before. That might be a new thing that people have to go, oh.
That's a great frame, and something I thought of today, literally today, earlier today. I was thinking like, wow, man, ETH is really dragging on my portfolio. It's the one thing that's not fucking going. But then I thought of like kind of the inverse, which was like, well, now is the time to be accumulating, and if you don't have enough, then you better be accumulating now, because what ends up happening to everybody is that the price eventually does go, and then everyone's like, oh shit, I better buy some. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right, Calcium wants to know, what is my low cap moon bag? My biggest moon bag is Blur, I think. I don't know if I would call that a low cap. I think it has the best chance of doing like a very, very high multiple relative to the risk, which is why I really, really like it. I have bought a lot of stupid shit. I sometimes don't even like to share this stuff because like I just know it's stupid.
So redacted.
I know you idiots are just gonna buy it, and like I might own like 1 ETH of these things, which is not like a huge chunk. Like, and then people just. We have some friends who will go unnamed, and I'm like, yeah, I'll buy like $1,000 or something, and then unnamed friend be like, oh, cool, I'll buy 2. And I'll be like, how much did you buy? It'll be like, 40,000. I'll be like, what?
So this is your version of what we just described, where it's like, I just want to own a little bit so I can be rational going forward.
Yes. So here I'll show you one. I'll show you one thing that I bought that you definitely shouldn't buy. I'll show you a couple things that I bought that you definitely shouldn't buy, but I'll just show you because you asked me on the stream and it's fine. So I have a friend who's just chilling the crap out of this stupid thing here. This is a Hyper. It's like a 2 million market cap.
Wow.
Gaming L2. Like,
wow.
This is going to be a thing. Like, everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, we're launching a zero knowledge roll up for gamers. There's probably already like 19 of them like at this point. But this is another one. I read over all the stuff. Looked kind of scammy, but like I looked at the chart and it was fine. But I was mostly like, I cannot have this be the thing
that I missed.
That does 1,000x, or I will off myself. So I just bought a little bit, and it's up 300% somehow.
Nice.
Or 250% from where I bought it. But it doesn't matter. Like, this thing could dump to 0 tomorrow. It's like all these things are fake. So I bought this stupid thing, and when it's just a rug, you only have yourself to blame. I bought another kind of low cap dump thing too. Actually, how's it doing? Oh yeah, there's a bookie bot.
Oh my gosh, this is another like winner token type thing.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of I've actually used it. It's interesting. You can just do sports betting straight in Telegram, so it's kind of a cool interface. Like, it's the type of thing where I was like, oh, like I actually have friends who would use this.
Sports betting on chain is a great use case because I like sports betting because I love sports, and then the betting on top of it just sort of like makes the experience better. So like I'll use a website like Bovada, right? And I've been rugged by Bovada. Like, they change the wager after I've placed it. And I'm like, I want this to be on chain. So it seems like a pretty obvious use case. And I don't have any exposure to these tokens, but I think I want some. Like, winner token if they do launch sports betting. When. That sounds like a good one. This might sound like a good one.
Yeah, GambleFi is interesting, and like all of these things are so speculative, and most will probably go to 0, including winner, including the bookie bot thing.
Can I tell you what fucking wager they changed? This is fucking bullshit, by the way. Okay, so I bet on a season-long wager. Clayton Kershaw, pitcher for the Dodgers. It was, will his ERA be above or below 2.5 for the season? And I said it was going to be above. And I think this was like 2 years ago. And he was like at a fucking 4.5. He was like fucking awful. I knew I won this bet. They didn't pay me. They just gave me my principal back. They're like, Clayton Kershaw got injured at some point in the season. I'm like, what the fuck? That's bullshit.
It is bullshit, man.
That's bullshit.
Sorry I had to go through that. But now you can bet on chain.
Yeah, I'll fuck them over by
tell your
it.
degen friends. This is like, we just have to incept it. Just have to incept it into all their brains. Just be like, hey, you can sports bet on Telegram. You just send a little ETH from your, or Matic. You can actually do it on Matic too. Just send a little Matic from your Coinbase account and just type stuff in and tell it. You just tap. Yep.
What's
boom.
Winner on L2 or?
Yeah, Winner is it's an Arbitrum project,
okay.
But it's sort of like a platform to build stuff on. Like, somebody built. Do you know Rollbit?
No.
Rollbit is this ultra degen, super scammy kind of basically a casino, but kind of exchange. You do like 1,000x leverage. All the influencers have been shilling it nonstop because their affiliate program is like oddly high paying. But somebody built like a decentralized Rollbit on top of Winner, and you can go on there and you can just 1,000x long ETH and Bitcoin, and you will lose all your money. You will, because you will lose nearly 100% of the
price
time.
moves.
But you can do it, and somebody built it, and people probably use those things. And the idea that people might come and build more interesting gamble things on top, it's kind of like the Magic play where you're building like an ecosystem and you're hoping people are going to come and build on it.
Yeah, like I was under the impression that winter, you could like play blackjack and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if it has blackjack yet. It's got very basic stuff like coin flip.
Okay. Okay.
It's got Plinko.
By the way.
Yeah, people are literally on this thing they're just coin flipping.
Yeah, I want to
think it's
wager.
got some like fake horse betting. I don't know. There's a ton of games. I was looking at it.
So
just like
fucking degen and hilarious.
It's kind of funny. Like I LP'd for it for a while. Like there was like a nice APR, and I just got a bunch of free tokens, and the tokens went way up. I was like, oh, this was a good this was a good use of my stable coins in the bear.
Cool.
Fortunately. All right, cool. Yeah, I see other stuff in the chat, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna cut it here.
Yeah, we
went over an hour
every week. We're gonna be doing this.
Yeah, we can't answer all the questions here. If you want to talk to us, you can find us in the Alfalfa Pod Discord at alfalfapod.com. You can also find me on Friendtech if you want me to feel obligated to answer everything that you say, even though I'm selling myself for $0 and I don't know why I'm doing it. But I feel an obligation to my key holders, and I'm hopeful the platform bounces back.
You're doing a good job in there, man. Like I log into Friendtech once every 3 weeks max, and I only hold your key. So like I only go to yours, and I'm like, oh shit, Steven's active in here. Cool.
Yeah, most other traders I think are smart and just gave up on it.
Yeah.
Like, wait, this is like not a. But I like playing around with new things, and I like seeing if stuff is. I don't know. I've always been rewarded for tinkering with stuff. Oh, Winter's doing pretty well. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, we're back, baby. All right. Hopefully that stupid thing keeps pumping. Anyway, guys, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. You can see all links in the description of this episode. Until then,
I'm gonna give it a like right now.
Yeah,
let's get some likes in there.
Yeah, like and subscribe, guys. Come on. You know you want to. Anyway, appreciate you all. We will be back. I think we'll be back next week. I don't think that anything's on the cal, so you should expect to see us next week.
Well, David Hoffman's in town. Maybe we get him on board for.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he'll
talk about how good ETH is.
Yeah, it's gonna be a gripping conversation. Sorry, David. Anyway, yeah, let's call it an evening. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time.
Later, guys.
Later.
Let's go bum because I'm so fly. 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 So fly, 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 so fly. Let's go bum because I'm so fly. So fly, 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 Let's go bum because I'm so fly.